Keep it up.
Hey, what's up, dude? Oh, hey, man, what's up? Do you want to watch Spider-Man? Which Spider-Man, dude? Spider-Man 3, come on. Spider-Man 3? Okay, let's do it. All right, let's go.
Stings, doesn't it?
Protected you in high school, now I'm gonna kick your little ass.
So I know what you're thinking. Why review Spider-Man 3? That movie sucks. But if you're thinking that, I disagree. I say this to you, I disagree. I think this is one of the best superhero movies of the last decade. It trumps most, if not all, the Marvel movies, and it's more rewatchable than all the DC movies. Is it the best of the Sam Raimi trilogy? Probably not. I think Spider-Man 2 is the superior movie by far, but this movie is criminally underrated. Does it have its flaws? Yeah, but do the positives outweigh the negatives? By far, I think. So we pick up with Peter Parker living a great life.
People really like me. The city is safe and sound. Guess I've had something to do with that. My Uncle Ben would be proud. I still get to school, top of my class.
Now the Hamiltonian shows us.
And I'm in love with the girl of my dreams.
The only thing that's troubling Peter is that his best friend, Harry Osborn, hates him now because he just learned that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he thinks that Spider-Man killed his father. So they have hatred for each other, or Harry hates Peter. But this movie's over a decade old. It's 11 years old now, and it's been panned to death. Everybody knows this story. Everybody knows what this movie's about. So I don't really feel like I'm going to go in depth on it. I don't really want to going through it beat by beat by beat and then talking about each beat. I just want to kind of do an overview of the movie and explain why I like it. For starters, this opening action scene with Harry Osborn is wonderful. It's violent, it's brutal, and it has emotional stakes attached to it. Harry hates Peter because he thinks that Peter killed his father. So he wants to kill Peter for that. And Peter is just trying to make him understand his point of view. He's saying, I didn't do it, he killed himself. But of course, Harry won't listen, and they fight.
Harry.
You knew this was coming, Pete.
Listen to me! I didn't kill your father! He was trying to kill me! He killed himself!
And at the end of the scene, Peter domes Harry Osborn and he gets amnesia, almost kills him. And I know at this point, the whole amnesia thing is kind of a cliche, but I think it works here. Because since Harry has short-term memory loss now, he doesn't remember who Spider-Man is, he doesn't remember who killed his father, he doesn't remember pretty much anything from the past 3 movies. So he just thinks that him and Peter are just good old friends, and Mary Jane, they're just good friends now. And so Peter's kind of happy in a way about this. He says, okay, things maybe can go back to the way they were, and this one problem in my life can be fixed, and my life can be great again. Of course, this is very short-lived, and it's the only real decent thing that happens next to a slew of bad things that are about to happen. Another thing that really works about this movie is the Sandman. We find out that he is actually responsible for the death of Uncle Ben, and when Peter finds out about this, the black suit Spider-Man is born, which we will talk about more later.
I watched my uncle die, and we chased down the wrong man. Now you're telling me you had suspicions for 2 years? Witnesses? Why weren't we told about this?
Settle down, son.
No, I have no intention of settling down. This man killed my uncle, and he's still out there.
But because of this event, Peter wants to kill the Sandman. He wants vengeance in a similar, parallel way to how Harry wants to kill Peter. It's a nice little parallel that we got going there. What's really great about Sandman is that he's just a misunderstood character by everyone in the movie. Nobody gets him. Nobody understands what he's trying to do. And this creates a very compelling villain because the audience gets him. The audience gets what he's trying to accomplish, and you feel for him because of that. He has a just cause. He's just trying to provide for his family, but he's so poor and can't do anything. So he turns to stealing.
You're not a bad person. You just had bad luck.
And this creates a villain that's so incredibly compelling to watch. In my opinion, the best villains are ones that have just causes, that don't view themselves as villains. Of course, there are exceptions to this, but most of the time, the most compelling villains are ones that have a direct emotional connection to our hero or are just misunderstood characters. Oh yeah, you love it. You love feeling mad and you love being bad. Another thing I really like is the black-suited Spider-Man. And no, I don't mean emo Peter Parker, I mean the black suit Spider-Man. I really like how Sam Raimi handles the symbiote in this movie. He gives Peter this really great life, and then methodically, through the first half of the movie, just rips it away from him until all that's left of Peter is a vengeful, angry shell of himself. He has a great girlfriend, and then he ruins it. He found solace in Uncle Ben's death and then lost it. His best friend turned on him and became his worst enemy. And because his life fell apart, the symbiote was able to attach itself to him as a parasite and feed off of his anger and his vengeful nature and amplify it. And I love that idea. I love the idea of this creature just using Peter's anger to turn him into the villain. He becomes sort of the main villain at a certain point in this movie. And I really loved all that stuff. I think the execution can be a little bit mixed here and there.
Find us some shade.
But why can't we have some goofiness in our superhero movie? I mean, the tone of the movie isn't seriousness. If this same scene was in The Dark Knight, then yeah, it would be an overt negative. This would be cringe-inducing. But the tone of this movie is just campy. It's goofy. So why can't we have stuff like this? Why does this bother people? It's really not that bad. Even though I don't really like Venom in this movie, I do enjoy the interactions between Peter and Eddie Brock. There are sort of these professional rivals, and Eddie cheats to get the upper hand on him. But Peter sees that he cheated and completely exposes and humiliates him.
You're trash, Brock. Excuse me? Your picture's a fake.
Parker, you are such a Boy Scout. When are you gonna give a guy a break?
You want forgiveness? Get religion.
What's going on here?
Which turns this nice guy, Eddie Brock, into a vengeful person, a vengeful, angry person, in a similar way to what Peter has become. And just as Eddie Brock is sort of getting these tendencies, Peter is realizing through smacking his girlfriend that this pain and anger that he's feeling because of the symbiote is something that he doesn't like. So he goes to the same building that Eddie Brock just happens to be in. I know, a little coincidental, but it's fine. And he rips those parts of him out. He says, I don't want to be like this. And he metaphorically and literally rips this part of him off. And it metaphorically and literally takes the shape of Eddie Brock. So while I don't think we needed Venom in this movie, what Sam Raimi did with the black suit Spider-Man I think is really great. I don't originally know what Sam Raimi wanted to do with this movie, but it is pretty clear that Venom was a studio note that was just shoehorned into the movie because the studio was like, people like Venom, right? So let's put him in the movie. But I think if he was given more creative freedom and more time to do what he wanted, he could have done something really great with Venom. I feel like you could have something where Peter rips off the suit and tries to destroy it, but a little piece gets away, and it sets up for a sequel, sets up for the fourth movie, where you can make the fourth movie a Venom movie. You can just have it be exclusively about Venom and Peter Parker, because that character is so iconic, and in this movie, he plays third fiddle. And that is kind of not great, and the fans definitely made it clear that it was not great.
Oh yeah, I know all about you. Like the fact that Spider-Man won't let you help your poor daughter.
But you suck.
So Eddie is Venom now, and Peter is desperately trying to scrape his life back together, but he doesn't have long because Venom and Sandman end up teaming up and kidnapping Mary Jane.
The hostage has been identified as Mary Jane Watson, an actress recently seen in a brief stint on Broadway.
I can't say that I love the ending of this movie. I think it's just overburdened with too much that's happening. You have Venom and Sandman kidnapping Mary Jane and waiting for the spider to come and get him. And all the while, Spider-Man, while he's fighting Sandman and Venom, is trying to get Harry Osborn on his side to come help, but Harry hates him, so his butler delivers the most poorly timed reveal of all time to him.
The blade that pierced his body came from his gilder.
Okay, his glider, that's right, glider. That's right. All right, here we go again. Okay.
The blade that pierced his heart.
That's all right. All right, Johnny, you're doing great.
Boy.
You love getting the laughs in dailies. Okay, here we go now.
The blade that pierced his body came from your glider.
No, his glider.
The blade that pierced his body came from his trailer.
Okay. Side note, this scene is just the worst. The scene sucks, but it could work. I think you could have this scene be exactly the same if you framed it a little differently. Just imagine if this was like an ongoing joke. Like that scene when Harry Osborn's like, "Hey, Bernard, get me some food." And then Bernard comes out and he goes, "Before I go, sir, I have something important." "No, Bernard, no, I don't want to hear it. I need food ASAP. I have a guest coming over." "But sir, this is really quite serious." "I don't want to hear it, Bernard. I don't want to hear it. Go get me food." "Okay, sir, I'll tell you later." Can you imagine if every time Bernard was on screen, he just tried to tell Harry about his father's glider? Not only would that make this scene where he has the big reveal feel a little bit better, make it actually work, but it would be pretty funny. It'd be pretty hilarious to have this be like an ongoing joke and then actually play a pivotal role near the end. I think that would be great. Okay, where was I? Oh right, the ending fight scene. I think this ending fight scene is overburdened by just too much. There's just too much happening. There's 3 different characters that are fighting each other, and then they introduce a 4th, and then just things are just happening like craziness. And I think what would have been great is, again, if you had Venom pulled out of the movie, and it was Sandman and Harry fighting Peter. And just as Harry is about to maybe kill MJ or Peter out of rage, Sandman has a change of mind, he has a change of allegiance, and he comes to help Peter because he never wanted to kill anybody. He never wants to hurt anybody. He just wanted to do what was right by his family. And so he wants to grab the spider. You know, he's a little vengeful for Spider-Man, but he doesn't want to kill him. And just as Harry's about to, he changes sides and they fight and bring down Harry and send him off to prison or whatever. I don't know. But as it is, we have Sandman and Venom fighting Peter, and then Harry immediately forgiving Peter after hearing a very vague story from his butler and taking his word for it, and immediately just going to help him. So then you got Harry and Peter versus Sandman and Venom, and it's just this mess of they're gonna fight these 2 guys, and MJ's falling around and they have to keep saving her. It's just a messy scene. But if there's one thing in the scene that I actually do like, it's how Peter beats Venom. He actually uses his wits because he realizes Venom is just bigger, stronger, faster, better. And so he has to beat him with his mind. He's smarter than Venom is. He's not stronger, so he has to be clever. And he uses his knowledge that he learned earlier to cleverly beat Venom. And I really do like that. I think that works pretty well. I really like this type of setup, payoff kind of writing. I think this is a pretty well-written moment inside of a mediocre, messy scene. And then the movie ends with MJ and Peter slow dancing together, which I think is a really nice ending to this trilogy. It's a little bittersweet, but I really like this ending. I think it's a great ending for this trilogy. The darkest movie of the 3 should have a darker ending, And I do like that. It definitely sets up for a sequel that never happened, but it does have some finality to it. Sandman gets away, Peter lets him go and forgives him. Harry gets killed after forgiving Peter, and Venom is taken down, and then Peter and MJ kind of get back together. So it's a really bittersweet ending that I think works. You know, this may not be the best superhero movie out there, but it certainly doesn't deserve the hate that it's gotten. I think this movie really works. You get great character writing, you get great filmmaking, you get excellent music, you get intense, visceral violence, and really well-written, developed villains. I think there's a lot in this movie that makes it rewatchable, entertaining, and just flat out good. I think this movie transcends being a good superhero movie and becomes just a good movie. Yeah, it's bumpy, yeah, it has some problems, there's a lot of bloated aspects of it and things that could easily have been pulled out, but as it is, I think it works. I think it works pretty well, and Sam Raimi certainly did everything he could to make it work. Even in scenes that aren't that great, you can see that he's trying his hardest to make it work. Well, boy, that was fun. Now I want nothing more to just go play Spider-Man PS4 with the black suit. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that now. All right. No black suit.
Better prepare to get laced because they're gonna taste my venom.